gonna go grab like some brunch again, maybe like take a quick stroll by the beach, and then we're gonna have to dip back. So very short trip. Didn't take any extra time off work or whatever to like accommodate it, but it's really just I don't want to say spur of the moment, but we maybe like thought about doing this like right around Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? So we didn't plan it out thoroughly or whatever. It's just an opportunity to get away.
Now, here's the perfect time. Uh, what did you make a playlist?
I intended to, and usually like so the first couple of times I started going on routine to San Diego or whatever, I was always like I play whatever, but as long as like right when I'm maybe like 20 minutes out from San Diego, or well, I'd say maybe like 30 to 45 minutes outside San Diego, that's when I play Carter 3 by Lil Wayne. Just something about, and I think it's around that time, like when I started going to San Diego more, that's when it was popping. And I was just like, all right, yeah, this is like that music to get me in the vibe of California. And then I started switching it off and just choosing like set people, like primarily people from California. Like I think the last time I went to San Diego, it's like, all right, I'm doing nothing but Dom Kennedy. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna do nothing but E40, or I'm gonna do, like just California rappers and whatnot. And this time I was gonna make a playlist of just songs from numerous people, but that had like California in the title. And so I had that all planned out, but I had it in my mind and I had the songs like, just in like my collection, but I didn't have a moment to actually like gather them all together, sort them and put them on the playlist. So no, I ended up not doing that.
That's 5 hours of driving there
Yeah,
and back.
which ain't that bad. Chanel, she has like the Spotify or whatever, so that's playing all the hits and whatnot. And she's driving like up to Yuma.
Ugh.
And oh, no, it's all right. Like the music's like, all right music, like, mostly pop music. They had a decent amount of Kendrick Lamar like in it. Like I think I heard like Squabble Up like 2, 3 times as we're driving just to Yuma. I was like, all right, okay, got it. And then like the trendy like K-pop songs and whoever else, like a
Yeah, like
bunch
I
of
said,
that was playing.
Like you let
Eh,
someone else take the wheel and control
well,
your
yeah, yeah.
ox.
Well, that's the thing. Like after like hearing like a couple different songs like 3 times in a row, I was like, all right, yeah, no, like probably I should, So then when I started driving, I popped in. Ironically enough, like I still have the full the GNX, so I did pop that in and like listen to that fully. Then after I listened to that, listened to the Freddie Gibbs, "You Only Die Twice" or Once. Then after that one, I did the I still felt like I needed to do some LA dudes. So like sure enough, like as we're driving into San Diego, or not LA but Cali dudes, right as we're driving to San Diego and inside I got to the Dom Kennedy class of '95. So that's pretty much my little collection of music that I played, but no, I didn't have a set playlist.
I got you.
I feel you.
Don, what you bobbing to?
What am I vibing to like now?
Well, I'm assuming your job allows you to listen as you work still.
Yeah, yes and no. This is a little more hands-on because like so for the other two, if you guys don't know, I recently got back into the workforce because I've been still I streamed still, but summertime streaming, just like with everything retail, like it kind of slowed down a little bit. And then
Mhm.
and I'm still cool, you know what I'm saying? But you want to get to the point where like you don't want to stress like about little things, right? And like, you know, I could stream for a day and it's not as popping as it needs to be, and it's cool. But then like I would realize it would mess up my entire day because I just be like, dang, I didn't make 800 today. I only made three or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I have like a set amount I'd like to make each day. So
Yeah.
I started like looking around, saying, let me do what I could do, and I was able to. My boy works for UPS. He's a driver, and he was like, "Yo, we got these management positions over here if you want to get put on." So he got me in. So I took a couple months ago. I took a management position for UPS, and it's been good. It's been good over at the Goodyear building. The hours are crazy. Like, bro, even today, I go to work at 1 in the morning. But I like it though because I'm off by like 8 or 9. You know what I'm saying? Then I got the entire day to do whatever.
To
So
sleep.
Yeah.
you would think so. You would think so. But I
No, you don't.
like 9:30, still adrenaline. I'll eat something, And I might crash out for like an hour or two, but then I'm up because I'm like, bro, I still got the whole day to do whatever. Run
Yeah.
errands if there's something on TV, if I want to like be out in the streets and I gotta go pick my kids up. So I don't sleep like I should, but once the sun is up, bro, I'm up. Like I feel like it's a day wasted. You feel me? So
Also, it's 40 degrees.
that's true. That's true. A Jace. I mean, it's an Arizona 40. Arizona 40 degrees is different from a regular 40 degrees. Arizona 40 degrees is really like 62. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't a for true 40. Like if it was in Flagstaff or something. But in terms of what am I vibing to, like currently, of course I've got GNX on play. Not all of GNX. I got some of GNX on play. And then I gotta be honest, Chromacopia has stayed in my rotation since it's been out. It's grown on me so much. And I went from thinking like it's one of his lowest like quality albums to one of his best quality albums. You know what I'm saying? So I've surprisingly been on that a lot between Chromacopia, GNX, and still Freddie. I know we're not doing end of the year albums now, but Freddie gets played a few times a week, just randomly.
Yeah, it's a good listen start to finish. I think Chromacopia too. There's a little pocket in that middle
Yeah,
that I really like, but I
that's
haven't been able to play it start to finish yet.
yeah, that's the pocket. It's funny you say that because like I like the whole album, but then when he gets from like Darling I to Judge Judy to Hey Jane to like there's like a 5 or 6 run, and then like gets the sticky,
Killed you.
like him, and I'm like, that run is like a phenomenal run. So yeah. And of course, real quick, I'm playing Missionary. I will say Missionary is good, but I thought it was going to be a little better. It's cool, but it's not. Maybe I gotta live with it more.
I'll say
I'm not
that.
well versed in the musical catalog. What's Missionary?
Oh,
What?
Missionary! It's Snoop and Dre's new album that dropped
Heard
Friday.
of Doggy Style,
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah, that's the one that is like has the Magnum condom like wrapper on the
Yeah.
cover. Okay, yeah.
Look,
I knew of it, but I never got to downloading or checking it out, so I'll have to do so.
yeah,
I will say when you're listening to, like you just said, when you go from Tyler to Kendrick to, down the line, Dom Kennedy, um, Rock Marciano, you got to be in the mood for it. I think Missionary will be appreciated later. Like it's maybe not right now, but maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, we'll be like, dang, we were sleeping on that. So I
yeah.
think just right now may not be the time, but I think it's
It's
quality
maybe
music.
it's maybe that, or I don't know. I felt like how do I say this? So usually with like a Dre or a Snoop project, there's like some type of cohesiveness or some type of like flow to it. And with this one, I feel like they were trying to chase like random sounds, you know what I'm saying? And with like the really random samples. I don't really that you know what I think that's what it is. With Dre, he's not a heavy sampler like that, right? Especially with the West Coast production. And like they're sampling 80 songs, which, with Sting and with the other, it was just, I don't know, it was a different flow. Having said that, there are some like absolute bangers on there. So I don't want to
So,
like I don't like the album. The album is fire, but
but can I ask you, is it hypocritical? Do you feel the same way about the Marsha Ambrosius project?
no, because the Marsha Ambrosius project was more of a hip hop heavily influenced to me. You know what I'm saying? You coming out the gate with like Wu Tang and all of that, it worked for some reason. It felt, you know what it is? I'll tell you this. The Marsha project felt cohesive. It felt like Casablanca was an actual project that you could from start to finish. It felt like Casablanca. This missionary, like it jumped like left and right to me. It didn't like feel 100% like he was going in one direction, in my opinion. And again, like it's only been out for a couple of days. I have gone through it like 3 times because it's what 47, 48 minutes. So like I have given it some thorough listens, and it's a dope project. I'm not saying don't listen to it. I would just like I don't know, based off of Gorgeous, I was like, oh, this is about to be something. You know what I'm saying? And it's Gorgeous is still my favorite song on the album.
Interesting. You don't like the smoke? Oh, okay. Well, we won't get started yet on that.
Okay, no, we can talk. We can talk.
Quincy, what you listening to?
Oh, sure. I've been going old school again. Well, not too old, but I just for some reason for the last like week or two, I've been on my a Snow Allegra kick, listening to her past albums and stuff. Just they just be hitting for some reason right now. Then I also put it on a little Pandora, Spotify. So this other artist related to her that had the same kind of vibe. There's a couple tracks that I copied their name and stuff down so I can listen to their other stuff because they're like, okay, I haven't heard of them. I can't think of their name right now. I'll post it later. But there's a couple artists. I was like, okay, she's cool, she's clean. I like that. But mostly it is not like I said, not even the old school because that was like about 5, 6 years ago, maybe. Nah, yeah,
Yeah.
because it came out like I think right before 2020. It's like 2019 that one album, that album again. So yeah, shit,
Yeah.
5 years ago, dang already. And then a couple albums that she did before that, and some of her recent stuff. But yeah, mostly for the last week or two, I just been on the Snow Allegra kick.
Nice.
She needs to come out with something new. Not a bad kick to be on.
Yeah,
She dropped
yeah,
a
true.
I feel like some of them just vanish. Like even like Mariah the Scientist. Like where do they go?
Yeah, though she dropped a couple Lucy's earlier in the year, and they were cool, but it didn't really do much. So hopefully
Yeah,
the booth because I'm a Snow Allegra fan too. I mean, trust me.
yeah.
Hey, if you see her Instagram, you see why. But yeah, no. So she just needs to drop something. But you're right. Well, the Mariah the Scientist disappeared because she's shacked up with Young Thug. Like Young Thug got out. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, listen, I've been away for 2 years. You ain't going anywhere for about 90 days. All right.
I I think just to be honest and everything, I feel like there's still one hit wonders out there. And so a lot of these artists, like they might have something popping, but they either just don't have it, like they have like a lucky hit, or they just like are no longer motivated by it. Like it wasn't Lil Yachty, but there's some other like rapper that had like a song. I don't think it was Kyle either, but it was one of those like kind of like, I don't want to say corny rappers, but just rappers I'm not a fan of.
Mhm.
They had some track or some song or whatever, made a couple mil off of it or whatever, and then they're interviewing them or something like this. No, no, I'm good. Just I'm not really into, like, kind of like making that cop out excuse like, oh, I don't like the industry or it's just not for me and so on and so forth. And it's like, no, like you got the bag and now you just run. Some people really weren't in it just to do it. I mean, like I remember Waka Flocka. Now, mind you, Waka Flocka did have a couple albums and hits and all that ish or whatever, but even he was talking about like, oh no, like yeah, like rapping. I don't even rap. Like it's I just I just had some catchy tunes. People liked it, so I went with it. But that's not my passion type deal. And it's like, all right, that's understandable. So I think for some of these artists, that's the case. Snow Allegra,
Agreed.
yeah, she got booed up with dude, and like so it was like, yeah, music is like a second priority for me. Similar thing happened with Kali Uchis. She shacked up with Don Tolliver or whatever, had a baby, and I think that's also one of those factors, especially when it comes to female artists. Like, you have a kid, like your career and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it does have to take a side seat. Number one I can recall, not an artist, but like an actual actor, Eva Mendes. Eva Mendes shacked up with Ryan Gosling, knocked out a couple kids, and so when's the last movie you saw her in? You know what I mean? Like she might have like little small acting roles, but she's like on that full time mother tip. Same thing with the other fine girl. Oh gosh, she shacked up with Jessica Alba. That one, she got with Cash Warren, this dude that's friends with Baron Davis, and like she ain't been doing a whole grip of like movies or TV or anything of that nature since. And so it's just something that happens, and unfortunately,
But here's
it's
the
not always
thing.
just the one hit wonders, but it's people that you actually like that probably could do more.
Would you say in those two actresses that you just named though, is it offensive to say they're a marginal talent anyways?
I mean, it's tough to say.
Like,
I
can
know.
Eva Mendes really act? I mean, Jessica Alba's like a
So
laughing stock and a meme about how she can't act. So,
yeah, and then that's why I said it's tough to say, like, because both of them, they're kind of like default character driven, especially Jessica Alba, where it's like, all right, let's just have this fine looking girl, as a side or as a co-star to like this attractive looking dude. Like she's in Into the Blue with her and Paul Walker or whatever. She's in
Like
She's
20 years
been
ago.
coming out with some stuff lately, though. Actually, she just dropped a movie this year, I think, and she was just in a show not too long ago. But
oh word.
like Harold was saying, she's a mid actress. You know, that's the thing with her. But
For her,
I think it is
maybe
also
I will defend my potential wife someday in the very very future or very very far future. That being Miss Eva Mendes Wilson after her and Ryan Gosling want to separate and
Mhm.
Chanel gets mad at me or whatever. But I think Eva Mendes, she has a little bit of a scale of acting because again, she started off in music videos that Miami. Hey, don't be putting that like little whatever, Harold. Nah, she started in the Miami music video with Will Smith or whatever, and then she played aside him in what's the dude's name and that Hitch. She played in Hitch with him. Then obviously she's in
yeah,
Training Day. She really didn't have acting in Training Day, but
yeah. She just was
she
background noise.
definitely was quality in
But no,
it.
she's cool. She's cute. She's good. But I was just watching an
But she
interview
has
of her
range
not too
though. It's
long
not
ago.
always just the same character. That's what I'm saying. Like, she does different characters. So I think acting wise, I think she would be good because I mean, you could probably put that same label on Denzel Washington, which I think is one of the best actors of all time, specifically best black actors. But I mean, if you look at it, a lot of his movies, he plays that same, dude where it's like, hey, like, I got them quotables, I got that swag, and I'm just gonna handle my business or whatever. The one
Yeah,
time, or one of the times he did like an awkward character was when he did Roman J. Israel, and nobody liked that movie. I watched it, but I wasn't really a big fan of it. And I thought he did good in it, but he's just not known to do different roles. And that's kind of the same thing that I was going to say with Jessica Alba and Eva Mendes. But I still think that Eva Mendes does have some range in her acting. So I wouldn't call her, like, just mediocre.
I
Mhm.
said Jessica is mid, but Eva is okay. But she even I just saw an interview of her not too long ago. She even said that she gave it up because she didn't think that she was a great. That could be her just being humble, but she said that's one reason she's not really known or not really doing stuff because she's like, did I really do anything that good? And you're like, am I really that good? But
I never heard that
but
before.
I feel you. And I also take it back to the music side of things. Like I feel also the industry pushes what it wants to push.
Yeah.
It has it, like especially like with the women singers and stuff, you're gonna have more Beyonce, women empowerment type of music compared to, Indie Iries, the Snow Allegra's, the certain females that actually have a better voice that's talking about love and honoring and respecting your spouse compared to say, I'll leave him in a heartbeat. I can get another one, like, you gonna pay my bills though? Like, yeah,
Drama
that's
sells.
Mhm.
that's the one that's going to sell high compared to like artists that is great and this amazing. Like you have to get past that. Like Alicia, like she talks about amazing stuff, beautiful love, but it's Alicia Keys, so you can't deny that. You can't deny that voice. You can't deny that spirit. So she's like one of the only ones that still can do it and get away with it without talking the negative aspect of it.
Well, I could recognize that in the past, like that being an issue or whatever. But nowadays, with media and like social media and everything, like now you don't need labels like you did back in the day. So a lot of people that are independent, they have that independent space where they can still make projects and still be successful. It's just that yeah, you don't see the mainstream because of the media, like you mentioned.
Exactly. That's what I'm
You
saying.
know,
You can still be there, but you ain't gonna hear a lot. You're not gonna be mainstream. That's unfortunate. It's a good thing. It's like it's with social media, it's gift and a curse because everybody has access to do it all, but you still need a certain clientele to make you excel. But it is what it is though. But like I said, I still love that good music, that good sultry, that good essence. So that's why most of my stuff is old school that I listen to.
Yeah, I'll say I
But
was in a funk for a while where most of this year it seemed like all the oxygen was sucked up by the battle stuff. There wasn't a lot of information coming out, wasn't a lot of good music that resonated. Um, I don't know, but somewhere around October, it seems like thing ratcheted up way. to the point where, like, I look back at this year and I'm like, most of this should be like my favorite year of all time because all the artists that I like, with maybe the exception of one, Fonte from, Lil Brother and all that. Other than that, like everybody I like came out with something. So it's like this should be everything I ever wanted. Um, and so I just some people, again, it's not what they say, it's also you gotta have talent. And so some people know how to rhyme words or they know how to say a message, but is it said, portrayed, done in a way that actually makes me want to listen to it? And I
Mhm.
understand that's how some of your guys' critique on Lupe is that he's saying a lot of dope stuff, but I don't like the beats, I don't like the hooks, I don't like the intricacies and the complex rhythms and all the cadences and all that. Okay, all right. Like I take that. But I think a lot of these artists, like they ain't really saying nothing that you want to listen to, what you want to hear.
I
It's
feel
not
you.
packaged right.
I feel you. It actually
Yeah.
takes a segue into that question I asked if y'all wanted to do that. As far as the rapper's voices, that cadence, that essence that makes them unique and that you think is dope. So that takes me into that question, which you just brought up, Harold.
Oh, okay.
So the what do y'all think of that? Did y'all have time to think about the top three or top five? Y'all see that question?
Yeah, I got a couple if you want to start. The first one I think I noticed, obviously it's Chuck D. He just has a commanding presence where you feel like he's speaking gospel. Um, so Chuck D stands out, but I think someone similar to Chuck D that's kind of new is Ransom. I think the way Ransom speaks, I don't know if you've heard any of his albums or projects, but he has a commanding presence and voice. And some of his albums are like, okay to good, but his voice makes it from good to better. And so I actually like a lot of his projects. Um, so I think Ransom, but one of my first ones, other than Chuck D, was Crazy Bone. Like the way he's able to melodically put you in a trance and just put words together. It's different than how Busta Rhymes speed raps. It's different than how Twista speed raps. It's different than how Tech Nine speed raps because he's able to just put words together, but has like a commending, smooth voice. It's just buttery. Um, and then on the other side, Trade of Truth. When I think grimy, I think a lot of people point to Jadakiss, but I point to a Trade of Truth where he's saying things hard, but he actually has that in his voice, down south Houston rapper. So I like a lot of Trade of Truth projects, partially because of what he's saying, but also because he has a voice that I dig. So, um, and I was also thinking at your question, I won't get into it right now, but there's a lot of dudes that I can't listen to their projects a lot because of their voice. Like they just are annoying. I get
I
the
feel you.
when people say like, "Oh, I can't listen to Lil Wayne. He sounds like an annoying little bug." It's like I get that. I just got used to it. There's a lot of things that like even Twista. I love a lot of Twista music, but he can be annoying sometimes. His voice change ups. Eminem, that was one of his biggest things was his voice and the things, the characters he would play. A lot of female artists, unfortunately, I can't listen to them because of the way their voice is, either too hard, too much bass, or too high pitched and tinny. So. Um, but anyways, I'll stop at that and see what y'all guys got
I
to say.
feel you. I like that list. What I was thinking, Nas was on mine. His voice, his essence, like his style, the way he, like I said, his cadence, his deliveries. Fabulous, same thing. Just his voice, you hear it, and you instantly know that's fabulous. Just how he rhymes stuff together, how he talks, his quotables. Um, and you missed a touch on it with Jadakiss. Same thing. This his raspy voice, this his deliverance, and same thing with like Fab. I think those two are like my top two like punchline artists. It's just they have some quotables.
So going
Common,
back real quick to Nas and Fabulous, because a lot of people have said that they're kind of monotone and kind of even keeled and like basic, right? But I guess what do you like about their voice that like sets them apart?
just as different. Like it's like I'm cool with the monotone if you want to call it that. Like it doesn't have to be high pitch. It doesn't. It can just be like like you said, buttery. It's just smooth. Like his is like shit. I can't even think of a. He's like I'm not cocky. I'm confident. When you tell me I'm the best, is a compliment. Like just his style and how he says words, how he puts stuff together, how he like this all that is this dope to me. And same with Fabulous. One of his joints was like, I'm always on my A shit, never be on that beach. If you're on
Yeah.
a beach, you're never gonna see. You know, it's just like this is how he flows, how he raps. Is just it's just dope, and it's uniquely too. It's like I remember an interview with Ryan Leslie was talking about the first time he did something, and he was like, listen to him. He's like, why you say that? Like, then he's like, nah, that's me. Trust me, people gonna love it. You know that just how his quotables are, how his just random stuff is. And who else? Like I said, Common, and I was thinking of a couple other cats, old school, like Tone Loc and stuff, like his voice. But you hear his voice. It's just funny. Not like I said, he's not like my favorite rapper or anything like that. He's not a dope rapper, but you hear his voice, you're like, that's Tone Loc. That's freaking Tone Loc.
That's
That's
funny.
funny. That dude's the dude.
No, I was just saying, with the Nas thing, I really like Nas's recent projects, right? And I think Nas of today, if you had his voice over Illmatic and like up to probably, it was written, maybe even I I think those would be some of my favorite projects. I think his voice was a little bit different, young Nas, and
Mhm.
that's why I don't like Illmatic, and it was written as much as other people, I guess. I think his voice is a little bit more high pitched, him being the young version of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. Reserve comment.
Who is
Last
it?
one I was gonna say
What's up,
Lupe.
Don?
Same.
Lupe was the last person I was gonna say. Like I said, I like his messages, I like his style, I like his voice. But yeah, that's who I got right now.
Okay.
There's more, but those are just some that because I thought I was been up since 4 o'clock and just random thoughts, and I was like, oh, let me ask this question.
You guys seem perturbed, irked.
No, it's whatever. It's your opinion.
Yeah, that Nas comment, like, yeah, like that'd be a whole couple hours. But anyways,
Yeah.
for me, like lyricism aside, so not even taking into account the lyricism, like, but just going by that voice and knowing I can enjoy it or whatever. I can't think of five, at least not that come to mind, but just thinking right now, for example, the first one of all is like DMX. Like DMX's voice, like I mean, this dude, they got like clips of him like on YouTube, like doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and
Yeah, I
like
remember that.
it's just dope because it's him doing it, like and that voice, the dog, like there's something about like I can't like have a DMX song and be like, man, like this is whack. He could say whatever, but like just that voice, it gets you in that gully mode, and you're just like yeah, I'm not like it's very hype, it gets you up or whatever. Even like when it's not supposed to get you hype, but it's just like slipping. Slipping was like one of my favorite songs for the longest time because like yeah, like when you're just in that mode, depressed and down, like it's dope music to vibe to or whatever, right? So DMX is definitely up there. Another one more recent has been like Freddie Gibbs. Like, and there are some Freddie Gibbs tracks where I'm like, man, I don't like it. But again, gets you in that gully mode, so you're feeling like, yeah, like da 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 da. Let me get this crack and like do this work. Just gets you like in that vibe, or whatever, right? So them two, and then like complete opposite, doing a like 180. The next two, Murs, because Murs is better than your favorite rapper, and that's always is what it is. But Murs as well as Childish Gambino, and it's not so much their voice, but just their personality or their character and the way that they rap. If I, for whatever reason, was a rapper, I'd probably be like that. Like I feel like I'm like at times like a black nerd, the blurred or whatever. I feel like I'm awkward, or like not the type of dude that sisters would want to get with. And that's the same vibe that I get definitely from Childish Gambino and somewhat from Murs. And since like I'm an LA dude, but I'm not just gonna be rapping about like drugs and pimping and all this stuff, but I'm just rapping about everyday life and just trying to, do better, have a good life, and then, so, I mean, those two dudes, and then, as I mentioned, Freddie Gibbs and DMX, those voices, put them on a track, I'm going to listen to it. I can't, like, it's going to be hard for me to be like, oh man, this is whack, whatever it is.
I like that list. I feel you,
Oh.
especially with the DMX.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot, DMX is always on the rotation when I work out or what have you. Like, definitely. I feel you.
Yeah.
What about you, Don?
Um, So yeah, I mean off the rip, because I'm going solely based on voice. I know you guys said like lyricism and personality, like I'm going strictly on voice, like tonality when I hear the voice, nothing more, nothing less for the question. So DMX is not even a question. I mean, we heard nothing. You think about it, like no one heard anything like DMX until DMX got here. Then after DMX, you've heard people attempt that sound, Ja Rule and others like with that try let's get raspy voice. But prior to DMX, the most raspiest or I guess rugged rapper prior to him was probably like a Method Man or something like that. You know what I mean? Which is my honorable mention, by the way, because I like you guys talk about like raspiness and breath control. Like with him specifically, I like him and how he like even would breathe during like certain like cadences and melodies and stuff like that. But so DMX for sure, it's not even a question. Um, let's Harold said Crazy Bone. I'm going Busy Bone. I like Crazy a lot, but Bone Thugs and Harmony was about the melodies, and it didn't get melodic until Busy got busy. You know what I'm saying? So like once he got in his singy songy, and then he would like get crazy with it, his voice like cut everything. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was always Busy Bone out of that group. So I'm going Biz. I'm going DMX. I'm gonna represent for the females for a second and put Rhapsody in there. I love her voice on every single project she does. You know what it is? I think she like has so much confidence that like now I'm just like the best female rapper, but I'm like literally no one can rap with me. And she's like that on every single joint. You know what I'm saying? So Rhapsody to me, she's consistent with her voice. So I love that. Um,
Quick side note, I'm intimidated by Rhapsody, so that's probably the main reason why I never like I listen to very little Rhapsody, but it's because like if I listen to her, I'm thinking like, man, like if she met me in person, she'd be like, you little like so I mean like I'm like I can't so that's that, but
you know what's
continue.
funny?
I just had to be honest and open about that, but continue.
Yeah. It's only in the booth though. Well, I don't know, maybe because I'm a fan of her. So like I watch some of her interviews because she's so down to earth and just cool. You know what I'm saying? And like so, and it's funny
And
because
so she called me a square, like that's what I'm thinking. Like I'm like, man, like damn, I got punked, so you know.
Now maybe Remy Ma, but I don't think Marlena.
No. Like
oh
I would hold my own against Remy Ma. Like, man, what? Never mind. And
yeah.
I'm changing the subject. Go ahead, Don.
If you want to talk about voices we hate, Remy Ma is on the top of the list. I hate her voice with a passion. All right, but yeah, that's for another one. So I got DMX, I got Rhapsody, I got Busy Bone. Next, opposite of I just lost my train of thought. Oh, Fife Dog. Fife Dog is my favorite because everybody always went to Q-Tip, and I think Q-Tip's voice is kind of annoying. So again, Tribe is my favorite group. So opposite aside from as soon as Fife Dog came on, I was like, breath of fresh air. So Fife, and then my fifth and final one, favorite of all time, no question to me, is Tupac. I love Tupac's
Good
voice.
point. Yeah.
Tupac's voice to me is it's always been. I mean, as a kid, I liked his voice. As a teenager, I liked his voice. Today, I like his voice. I could put on a Pac song, "Me Against the World." Probably my favorite Tupac song is "Shed So Many Tears." I love that song. I can go all day. So Tupac's voice to me is probably the top voice of all time, in my opinion.
I feel you. Shit, I almost forgot about Pog as far as the voice and stuff. But yeah, definitely. Like I said, if I had time to think about the list a little longer, probably would have put them on there too. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually
Everybody has something on the
surprised
list.
because, especially because, hip hop usually has an East Coast bias to it. Most people would say Biggie, right? That there's been imitators of that rough and gruff voice that Biggie has, especially like a Rick Ross of today doing the uhs and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm definitely more of a fan of Pac too.
Yeah, I feel
I
you.
know.
Some people
I know
will
we're talking
still put
voice,
Biggie out
but
there.
outside of voice, if I were to mix voice along with the lyricism, honorable mention or a fifth one for me probably would have been E40 because like when you hear his voice, you know it's going to be like enjoyable, like you're going to have a good time, or whatever, right? But a lot of
Ooh,
that also is attributed to like the lingo and the lyricism he throws in there. So, but I like his voice too. That'd be another one for me.
Yeah.
Feel you. Nice, nice. That's what's up.
yep.
Ooh, cool little seg. What else? What else y'all
Now,
thinking?
now it's funny. Now, you should have asked us like what voices we hate, because now like if they're dancing in my head, I'm like, oh, bro, I got a list.
I
But
mean,
You
shoot,
said Remy
we
Ma. I'm
on
gonna
it.
throw in there. I'm gonna throw in Nicki Minaj. Like her with her changing her voices and stuff. I can't deal with that. So that's the female voice I could do without. For a minute, it used to be Cardi, but like she's grown on me where I can like listen to Cardi and a couple other ones and whatnot. Glorilla, not a big fan, but like I can listen to it. So yeah. But Nicki Minaj, like, nah, that's the voice for me, female wise, at least that I can't think of or that I can't vibe with. I'll think of the
I
dudes
be
now as well.
I be real with Cardi and Nicki. I never actually listened to a whole song of theirs. Like I never actually listened to any one of their songs. Like I heard bits and pieces because you'd hear all this stuff on YouTube and whatever have you, and people break it up and put it on their videos and stuff like that. And
Mm.
but I actually never listened to any of their songs because I dislike them that much. Like just the whole essence of them, how they carry themselves, how they.
I
Uh,
don't do that.
Super
I'm
hate.
sorry, I don't like that trash, dude.
Okay, so let me just ask you this, and this ain't me for caping for women, but when I hear dudes say I don't like how they carry themselves, it's kind of whack. Did you like Little Kim? Because if you didn't, then this conversation ends.
Little
Little Kim.
Kim, I like her rap. I could actually listen to her. I didn't like, the only thing was it's like with Little Kim and Foxy, they were like the first ones to do it to a certain extent. So I didn't like it was news to me and I was younger, so I kind of liked that aspect because that I was, shooting my teens. Now in my 40s, I look at the world differently, I guess. Call me old, call me whatever. I just tired of ignorance, tired of BS. That's like I said, call me an old head, whatever.
No,
So I just don't like it.
that's not an old head thing, but I'm very curious as to why it's considered like ignorant or why it's considered like trash for them to carry themselves the way they do. Okay, so Kim, for
Well,
example.
it's also like if you're gonna be a fan of Rhapsody, if you're gonna pop up her, if you like Ciroc, if you like, there's a lot of females that are good, but if all you hear is Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B,
No. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But what he was saying is he liked Little Kim as a teenager, but as 40, he doesn't. So what changed? Because she was brazen when you were 16. You saw her poster where she's showing her joint or whatever, and her lyrics. If you hear them today, is the exact same things that they're talking about. It's just she could flow, right? But she was very, very sexual with her nature, and she was very like outgoing. Foxy Brown was very, very outgoing with it, and we thought that was cool and like it was a bop. So what changes with age? I'm kind of confused as to why we consider or you consider that trash. I don't at all. But
Like,
why?
yeah, and that's why everybody got their own taste buds.
Old,
Everybody got their
curious.
yeah. Like I said, I'm not it. I ain't stopping anybody from getting their bag. That is what it is. But shoot, life experiences, things change. You don't have the same taste as you did before. Shoot, I used to like cereal milk. Now I don't like that crap. I'm lactose intolerant now. Like it's just, I just don't like certain things anymore. What I liked when I was younger, I don't like when I'm older.
No, I feel that. Okay. I won't keep beating it. I just want to know, pause. What is it that you consider that's trash about what they do? Is it that because, and again, I'm not trying to cape for women, but the one thing I don't like, so because with hip hop and music in general, like I'm an equal opportunist, right? Glorilla and them, they do their thing. We don't have to listen to it, but I'm not going to call what they do trash, right? Because there's male, rappers that are just as like bro. Snoop just put out something called Missionary with a condom on the front. Like that's hypersexualized. You
that's
know
safe sex.
Huh?
Safe sex.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. You right.
Like I said, hey, call me. It is. I don't know. Like I said, it's just
Snoop says
that's how I feel.
hoes and tricks, and we're like this. Yo, that's right. And I'm with that.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm 100% with that. So on the flip side, if Mel or Nikki and them want to say, yeah, I'm that bitch that like this, that's not trash to me. Like that's them.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like I said, that is, and I feel the same way when it's certain dudes saying the same thing too. So it's not like I just don't like that essence of that music. So I like certain things. I give males more of a pass, you can say, because you expect that of them. Whatever. I still think women should be beautiful and committed. I don't like when women curse. I don't. it is what it is. That's me. That's gonna be me. I like shoot. I stopped dating a chick because she cursed too dang much. I just don't like that aspect of it. But I can tolerate it with to a certain extent. Like I said, even when I was younger, I liked Eve because she was one of my favorite female artists when I was younger, and she cursed. But if I heard, you know, um, certain songs now, like even with we were talking about it a while ago with Kendrick's album when he was that back and forth that I called it like trash and that you N word
Yeah.
this and that. Like I don't like that stuff. I don't like that anger and that just that BS behind it. Just like I want to be negative all the time. I don't like that crap.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I only got triggered when you were like saying, "Oh, it's trash and it's this and that," and
Yeah.
they gotta like uphold a certain. I still don't agree with they have to like uphold a certain standard, especially in music, especially our black women. Like I feel like they should be able to be free about what they want to do with their bodies and their look and everything like that. But that's a whole other conversation, and we don't have to get that deep. So,
Yeah.
So
Like I said, I ain't gonna stop anybody from getting their bag. They can do their thing. Hey, good for you. I ain't stopping you. I don't gotta listen to you either.
Because
yeah.
you were talking
So
about the Kendrick from Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers, the what is it, We Cry Together, where it's kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
out that scene from Baby Boy, but you do like the Baby Boy movie.
The movie, I don't like that part of it, but like the movie itself, I don't like you said. It's always that. It's always that. Like, uh, that's why I don't didn't really like a lot of Taraji's movies because she's always playing that character. That's why I didn't like freaking Empire. It's just why? Why are you that character all the time? That negative,
Yeah.
ghetto ass black female. Like, yeah, but you can be a beautiful black female without being the stereotypical aspect of it. I know Don don't agree with me, but hey, it is what it is. I
I,
never like
I,
that stuff.
it's funny. I feel like I'm in the middle with respect to both you guys. I probably lean more towards Don's side, but I definitely get where you're coming from as well, Quincy. And quick with respect to the Taraji P Henson, like yeah, like if you're consistently playing that character, it does get annoying. But I do recognize that character and the need for them to have that character in certain movies. Like Craig's girlfriend from Friday. Like there are like girls that are like that, so you have to have someone play that character. And as much as it's kind of toxic or whatever, like for some people, toxic is sexy, and so it is what it is, and that goes the same for the music. Like I'm with Don in the sense of like, hey, like do whatever you want, say whatever you want, because these dudes say the same thing. So if I'm gonna listen to a dude talking about like slob on my knob like corn on the cob, the girl can have a song talking about like drop them knees, go gargle his, da 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 da. It's just that yeah, like depending on how explicit and graphic it is, I really don't want. It's just like again, like when people watch or when some people watch porn, right? Yeah, you down to see like a girl getting pumped and stuff like that, but then all of a sudden they cut to the guy and he's grunting like, ugh, like like making them faces. You don't want to see that, right? It's not
Yeah,
that you're saying like they're trash. It's just like that's not my vibe. And sometimes with the
yeah, I
lyricism
feel
and
you.
what the ladies are describing, that's not my vibe. But at the same time, some of them like it's dope. One, because they're raw, they're being honest and real, and like again, it's punch for punch. A dude says this, a girl's gonna say that. So I think there are some that are really talented at it, and those ones I will respect. But then there's ones that are just trash, and usually they get exposed. Have one or two songs like where they happen to look slightly attractive, so all they're doing is like in a music video trying to rap or whatever, and the rap is ass. But because they're like looking attractive or whatever, they like blow up on the charts, and then like 2-3 months later, they're nowhere to be found because again they're garbage. But a Megan Thee Stallion, quality. Um, I don't like Cardi that much, but I can respect quality. Uh, Glorilla, eh, but maybe quality. You know what I mean? So it really just depends for me. But I
Okay,
definitely side with Don in regards to giving them respect, and acknowledging that music is for someone out there.
okay.
But
I
also,
feel you. I respect that.
real quick,
So
I
I'll
will say
take the
this though.
word
Like,
trash back and just say they ain't my vibe. So I'll
okay,
take the trash
yeah,
back and say they ain't my vibe. Because like I said,
oh no,
everybody got their audience. Just like I'm not a fan of Beyonce, but
but
she has her little beehive. She got her whole little audience. There's certain artists that can she sing? She got a voice, but am I her target audience? No. I'm not her target audience.
Well, and
So
just to touch on the trash part, whatever. Like I go back to that quote from Black Rob, which is, "I respect all women long as they respect themselves." Now you can talk dirty and all that stuff like that. Like again, like a Megan Thee Stallion, I think she like respects herself, like has mad respect. I mean, she gets respect from me for that sense. And so if like yeah, you can like say what you're saying, but you're honest and bold and straightforward with it, and it is actually respectable, as opposed to some other women where it's like yeah, like let me do this sexy stuff because I know that's what sells, but like they're saying all sorts of just like I don't give like like what was the there's somebody and it's not this person but it was like kind of like the same vibe. There's the Kia girl that did like my neck, my back, lick my yeah my. It wasn't her, but there was someone that had a song just like that, and it's just like dang, like how you have those like pornos where it's kind of like aggressive and like violent and like like choking and slapping and spitting on. You're like that type of stuff. That's
No, I
kind of like
don't
yeah,
know.
that's no. I'm not saying you got to watch it or, but you've heard of shit like that. You know what I mean? And so it's like that, like my bad, dude. That's homie Eric up there. Anyways, okay. Anyways, so I mean, like there's something that's like depraving or whatever and stuff, and like if you're willingly accepting it, I'm not respecting you. And so when you have like music that's willingly saying like, hey, like treat me like trash, I'm not respecting you, so I don't respect that music. So I would agree there are certain artists, female included, that are trash. That's and that's an opinion. That's perfectly fine. So that's why I don't want you to feel like you can't call that type of music trash, but it's just certain people within that realm.
cool. Yep, I
I got
feel
you.
you. I feel you. That's funny. We went on a tangent.
Yeah.
So,
Down
so
the wrong. Went down a different rabbit hole.
I have a question for you guys.
In your words, partner. That's why.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead, Harold.
Not a question for you. It's a little bit different because it's off of the music for a little bit. Because Thursday was the Game Awards, and I know none of you are really gamers. And they crown like best director and best performance, and games have evolved from like the Pong and the Pac-Man days to now being these epic cinematic adventures and whatnot that command, thousands of hours of your time and hundreds of dollars and all the other stuff, right? But
Mhm.
I just want to know for you all, what made you fall off of gaming? Because I still play 30 to 40 to 50 games a year, right? Different ones, old ones, new ones, mobile, not much mobile, but mostly console and PC games. But like, I just want to know for you all, like, what made you fall off? Was it just no time, no money? You just
I
need it?
I can start because I actually still consider myself a gamer and I try to game as much as possible. Mine is solely uh mine's solely the kids, and it's not because I have to be around them. It's because the content of the game I like to play, they can't necessarily watch. Not all the games. Now, of course, the games that, you know, 2K and Madden and all those, like they can watch, but if I'm in my Grand Theft Auto bag or Hitman bag or things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? And there's like story play going and they want to watch with me because it's good quality time. I can't be choking someone out and because Jordan's like, yo, that's dope, do it again. And I'm like, y'all 9 years old, 10 years old watching this. I can't, not yet. You know what I'm saying? So mine's attributed to simply just content, around the house. So with that being said, I'll play games with them. Like Jordan's a gamer. So when he's in his Fortnite bag, when he's in his Super Smash Brothers or Roblox or whatever games he's into, I'll either play or watch with them. So to me, it's ultimately just the type of content and time. Because I mean, the thing about me, I don't know how to just game for like 30 minutes. Like I get into the joint. You feel me? Like the last game when Spider-Man Miles Morales edition came out and I sat to just try it, I beat the game in 4 hours. Because you keep going to the next level and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And oh, look, I can go do the side mission and I get engulfed into the game because I am a gamer. So it's, I guess, a little bit of time and then the content with the kids.
Shoot, I say with me it was a little simpler. It's like when I say the first person shooter started coming out, and then the games where you just move directions and everywhere you can go. Like old school games, you just go right. Like Sonic, you just go right. And then race car games when you go all over the place, I started getting like nauseous watching it. Like like literally started getting motion sickness because I just didn't play for a while. Then I saw the boys homie play, and like literally I was wondering why I was getting sick watching it, and it was this motion sickness, I guess. So honestly, that's the reason I stopped playing games. For that alone, really, like I can still play like the old school. I still got the Sega, or not the Sega, but the Nintendo, Super Nintendo. So I can still play those games. I can still play the fighting games like the Mortal Kombat's and all that stuff. But when they going every direction, up, down, left, right, side to side, and moving fast, I can't even watch somebody play for more than like 10 minutes.
You're talking about the 2D versus the 3D space, right? Well, once you had that
Yeah,
C axis. Yep, yep.
yeah. So once that opened up, I was like, it's cool, but I'm good. I can't do it. So that's simple as it is.
Well, I will say they're not usually in the game of the year category, but there's probably 100 of those what they call like old school pixel art games that still come out that you could play that are like the 2D that are, maybe you have some enhanced, they even came out with I want to say last year, a new Turtles game where you literally are doing beat 'em up like old school. Put the coins in, so if you don't got to put coins in, you get to just pick who character you want, and you go through the
Nice.
levels. It looks like an old cartoon, but just done way better. And there's games like that. There's a new Power Rangers that just came out literally last week that does the same type of thing. Like if you like those beat 'em up style games, like the X-Men and Simpsons from back in the day. So they
Okay.
still make those
Okay.
types of games in addition to the platformers, the Mario types. It's just, if you still care to get into that scene.
Yeah. And I probably don't care enough to get back in. Am I going to buy a $500, $6 system just for a handful of games? Like, I'm kind of cool. I'd rather spend that money on other stuff. But yeah, this is cool though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, every once in a while I turn the Nintendo on, play some Mario. It's playing that maybe a week or two ago when the homie came over.
That's dope.
Yeah. For me, like it was the combination of things, like different things that it came into play that led to me just being like, yeah, this ain't for me or whatever. And I
Mhm.
think like the majority of it, or it all started essentially when I was in college. Once I had a PlayStation 2, and I don't know which Madden it was, but it was one of those Maddens that came out at that time. And I'm in class chopping it up with one homie, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I play Madden." I was like, "Oh yeah, I play Madden too. Let's go ahead and play." Like in between classes, go to play a game, and I'm thinking like I'm decent at the game or whatever, right? Like I could put in work. I can be competitive. Everybody they have their team. I can't remember which team mine was. I think it was the Eagles when Terrell Owens was on the Eagles, or maybe someone else. But anyway, like I had my team. So, as we're walking in my dorm room to go play the game, I'm gassing myself up like, all right, yeah, we'll see how good you are. We'll see, da 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 da. We get there. This dude waxes me like, 40 something to zero in like a matter of what seemed like 5 minutes. I'm sure obviously it was longer, but I mean, like
That's funny.
every single play that I'm doing, like it's just like, nope, pick, and then just go all the way with that, and just kind of playing defense on him. And so that was the realization where it's like, dang, you're not really that good at this game as you thought. And then that continued on because then you start playing other games like Call of Duty when you did like the campaign, not the campaign, but like the multiplayer and stuff. And you got people sniping you like right after you respawn and stuff. And then obviously at that point it started to get more mainstream where it's more competitive. They'd have gamers, and not to be racist or anything like that, but like a lot of the dudes from Asia or whatever, they're like, are kids, but they're like whizzes and like can like, just dominate any game. And so like the more I played, whether it's like the 2Ks and stuff like that, like NBA and all that junk. And the more like, gaming got more popular and the more people were involved in it, and therefore the more people that got better at it, and me
Mhm.
not getting that good, that was one like, detriment there. Then fast forward after college, like, okay, yeah, like I'm adult, so I'm getting paper so I can buy like systems and everything. I buy the PlayStation 3, which also plays the DVDs and all that, or the Blu-ray or whatever. And it's like, all right, yeah, like let me get this and start playing games and such. And, at the same time, as much as like I have the money to like buy games, well,
Mhm.
I also have bills and I also have to like work in order to do that. Whereas I had all the free time when I was a kid, so a lot more free time to play games. where I don't have that free time now. It's a matter of like, all right, what's my priority? Spending all this time playing this game or doing something else? So that's the time aspect that came into play. And then lastly, when I did have that PlayStation 3, one of my friends came over. The first game I got was Metal Gear Solid. And like, I didn't know much about the game, didn't care for it, but like my friend was really big or hyped on it. So I was like, all right, yeah, like I'll get it. Because again, I had paper, so I bought the game and he was playing it. I'm chilling in my apartment and watching him play the game. And that was more entertaining than me playing the game itself. Because again, like for me, I just get frustrated when with all these games they try to make them harder and complex and like 8, 10, 15 hours long or whatever. And so I'm just trying to get through this one fucking level. And every single time I keep dying, like, I'm like, no, I'm tired of that. Here, you do it. And so, like, the friend, he'll do it or something. He gets it done with. Cool. Now I don't have to deal with the stress or frustration. And that also led to, as you know, like YouTube, where you have people doing the gameplay and commenting and all that junk. Like, I still, like, not as much, because again, I don't have the time, but I still to this day will, go and watch a dude do a walkthrough of a game or whatever and, go and beat the game for me. So it's like, okay, so now I know what happens in the game. Cool. They had a quiet place, like they had a game for a quiet place, right? I just watched that, like, what, maybe 5 hours in like different sessions or whatever. Watched it and saw what happened. I'm like, all right, cool. That's what I want to see. Now I can go on with my business without go on with my day versus spending hour upon hour upon hour trying to figure out a game myself and then like finally beat the game but after like 2 3 weeks be like oh man like yeah. And then the very final aspect of it was not by choice but force. Unfortunately, when I had my motorcycle accident, that messed up the arm, and so therefore, can't really be doing two-handed like controller things or whatever. So there's a couple games I can still play, more so like the old school games and such. But again, it's just like at this point, I've already kind of like ran out of the interest to get gaming in.
Yeah, I feel you. He said he had that little brother syndrome. He beat me too many times, threw the controller down, said, F it, I'm good. I don't want to play no more.
Hey, pretty much, yeah. That's one way to recognize it. Yeah, valid.
That's what's up. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel you. Solid points. Solid
It,
points.
that that
But yeah,
that
I used to love it though. I used to actually, when I was younger, I actually wanted to go to school for it. Wanted to make games, wanted to make video games because I was super into it on the computer when it first came out, and then the Segas and all that stuff. And I was like talking to teachers about what does it take to become a game designer. But then, like I said, got a little older. Then I just stopped playing it because, like I said, started getting a little nauseous. And then after a while of not playing it, you just shift focuses.
Yeah,
yeah, that's
makes
dope.
sense.
Yeah, I'm surprised because like what you were just talking about, Quincy, I now work in cybersecurity and I create a lot of training for it. I don't necessarily do the what you would call like work to stop a threat happen, threat intel and all that stuff. But I do more of like training and wanting to know what's happening, what's out there, how to stop it. And some of the stuff is heavy-handed. It's like, here, you're taking a module, you're taking a course. Make sure your annual training is done. But the stuff that I do is supposed to not feel like training, and I create a lot of games. And so being a game designer for cybersecurity has its own different challenges, but I like it because a lot of times I'll be playing Mario Party or I'll be playing, WarioWare or I'll be playing a lot of these other different mini things and just discovering mechanics that only take one click or two buttons and that are simple enough for someone like Quincy or someone like me to be able to get some challenge and some fun and some joy and also learn something on accident. So like that's the purpose of it. But I actually like enjoy doing that. I never would have thought doing cybersecurity, doing something for a healthcare organization would lead to me being a game designer. But I try to rig these different solutions, and it's a lot of fun.
That
But
sounds dope. That's cool.
my so my family obviously is a big gamer family, and so everybody from the wife, the kids, they all play, and they play on different things. My wife plays PS5 with me. Um, the kids they play Switch, the usual suspects, but also things they play Kirby, they play Mario Kart, they play a little bit of Sonic and things of that nature. My son is obsessed with Sonic right now. We'll play a lot of things together. We'll play Overcooked. We'll play a lot of those things. And so like it's made to be like the family machine that has a lot of things that you can play together. Me and my wife will play games. We played It Takes Two. We played A Way Out. We've played, different games, Yarny, jumping from thing to thing. And it's nice to like just be able to not only have some quality time, but then also have like a sense of accomplishment, like you did something.
Mhm.
Or like, everybody watches like the episodes, like, oh, let's go watch a TV series. Some of these games are 20, 30 hours where it's like you have to play them in a series. Let's play it an hour a sitting every,
Yeah.
couple nights and whatnot. And so it's kind of dope to do that. I obviously play on PS5, Switch as well, but also play on PC, and I have my own handheld. So I customize the handheld to play PC games, to play arcade games, to play Nintendo games, to play Sega games, to play anything that comes out. I could basically copy things over there on the Steam Deck. And so I play a lot through that. I even will stream the PS5 to that handheld if someone's using the TV. So there's a lot of different things you can do with it. And just to get that hour or two in, I'm not like Don. I don't play for 6, 7 hours straight, but I'll play 45 minutes, an hour, and I like to vary it up. Well, I'll play something competitive, something where it's like a checklist, an open world that you're going through, something that's like a fighting game, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter, Tekken, all those. Um, but one of the things I really like too, that they're introducing new types of games. So like one of the things I think you were talking about, Brian, is like watching over someone's shoulder and kind of being like a passenger. And they kind of have that. They call them like walking simulators, or they call them like these cinematic experiences. But basically, like it's like a choose your own adventure where you're watching a horror film and then it's like, now do what? Should I run under the car or should I go around the back of the building? And if
Yeah.
you choose one, this person dies. If you choose this other thing, then maybe the dinosaur gets you. But like there's like a way that you can control it and follow it and actually have multiple endings. Because
Yeah,
if you do
yeah.
this one
They have
path,
interactive stuff like that. I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
primarily on Netflix, for example, they do some gaming things like that, and it's like, and maybe I hate to say it, but I can't think of another excuse, but maybe it's me being lazy. I'm like, yeah, I ain't trying to do that. You make the decision for me. I don't want to spend my time, choosing one or the other. I'm riding with you. Whatever you do, that's what it is. Like I want to make that decision. Because if I'm doing like the gaming thing, like where again, like I'm just watching them or whatever, this is time for me just to chill, relax, and just see it. It's just like watching a movie, but it's like you're a little bit involved in it because like all right, with the movie it's scripted. With this one, although you don't know it's happening, and it's not scripted though, it's just a matter of whoever the person is that you're watching do the game or whatever. So I still like that. Like, let me sit back and let them take the wheel the whole time situation.
I feel
Yeah,
you.
okay.
You just don't want to be interactive with it. You just don't want that pressure, that focus. Like,
Stress.
I just want to watch it. I'm cool. I don't want to make
Something like
decisions.
that.
I don't want to move. I don't want to like
And
mess
also,
up.
I feel like I'm a, I can sit down like in and like watch a movie. In fact, like there's been times where I've sat down and like done like movie marathons, like watched like two, three, four movies back to back and whatnot, right? But even with that, I still like am able to get up and like go do something maybe in between the movie or something. And I just I don't want to say I have to always be moving, but like I like to be active. So for example, like when they did have like everybody was like, oh, the new NBA 2K, the Madden, like all those like sport games, like I never really got big into those because it's like, well, we could play the game or we could just actually go play. Like I'm way more amped to play basketball, just play basketball versus playing basketball on a computer or whatever, like or on a gaming console because it's like
Yeah, but
I mean it's like,
basketball's
well,
easy, right? But if it was something like tennis, and you like tennis too, so that's probably a bad example. But if it's something you're terrible at, then you're like, oh, I'd rather play it with A, B, X, Y than have to literally look like a fool.
no, because it's like if it's terrible, like or if I'm terrible at it, then why am I gonna want to even play it on like MLB baseball? I can't play baseball worth a lick, but like, and I'll watch baseball on occasion if it's like the World Series or something. But I'm not gonna gather or round up a group of friends to go like play catch or like hit the ball or whatever. And I'm not gonna go like if you came to me with the gaming console, hey, you want to check us? Let's play some games. We can play this. I'm not going to suggest or I'm not gonna be like, yeah, let's play like MLB 2000. No, and that's boring to me. Bowling, maybe bowling would be one that I'd be like, all right, yeah, let me play that like on the Wii or whatever, as opposed to going to the actual bowling alley. But I probably would enjoy going to the bowling alley more, even if I suck at bowling in real life versus actually, oh yeah, playing on the Wii, I can like bowl like a 300. Yeah, like there's something about the tangible physical aspect of taking that action that is cool. Now, on the contrary, if it's like, all right, yeah, we can play Call of Duty or we can go paintball, I'm probably gonna play Call of Duty because that can be painful to my knowledge. Getting some paintballs hit up on me and stuff like that. And at least like if I'm whether I'm good or bad playing Call of Duty, I ain't feeling no pain. If I suck in person at paintball, I'm gonna feel a whole lot of pain. So that scenario, yes, I'd play the game, but things that I can do and that I feel like I enjoy, whether I suck at it or whether I'm good at it, I'd rather do the live experience of it as opposed to doing the video game.
Nice. No, I appreciate you guys humoring me on that because I just was curious. I know I'm like, there's always things I want to share with people, and it's a big part of my life. But it's obviously like none of you are really into games like that. So, um, yeah, I just wanted to see why.
I feel you, dude. Hey, that's why we here, man. Any question, anytime you want to talk about anything, you got your boys, so don't hesitate, man.
Yeah.
Shoot, speaking of that, like talking about the movie and all that, like at this point, I think we all probably saw that Gladiator 2. I know some people have different thoughts on it. You haven't seen it yet, Don? Or
I have no desire to. I'll be honest with you. It's
Okay.
not even because of the reviews. I had no desire to. I'll wait. Now that it's going to be streaming, I'll catch it in a couple of weeks. But you guys can still talk about it, please.
all
Spoil.
right, I ain't trying to ruin nothing though.
What puts you off from it?
Which
You know
go
what?
ahead.
I'll be honest. I typically don't allow reviews or like storylines to deter me from watching it. But I've heard more bad than good so much that I'm like, okay, now I will legit wait until I don't have to pay for it. Um, so I don't know. Maybe that, and maybe because the story is, the first one came out so long ago that like hearing Gladiator 2, it didn't make me jump to want to go see the sequel to it 20 plus years later. So it's just that.
Did you feel like you got burned watching something like Twisters? Was that like also disappointing to you?
I mean, it's just everything, man. Like everything the past couple of years coming out with.
Beetlejuice.
I see, and we still didn't even watch that yet. And I love Beetlejuice, but it's just all these sequels coming out 20 plus years later, man. And the execution for the most of them have not been good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm chilling. I'll get to it eventually. That's pretty much it. So carry on about the movie. It's just again, spoil it because I don't care.
Yeah, we had that we had the mini Zoom meeting like a couple weeks back or whatever. I think Don, you're sick or under the weather,
I
so
was
I
out of
did that. But we chopped it up about the movie briefly there, and I don't know. I won't speak for anyone else, but myself, like I was like, yeah, didn't like it. It was a cash grab, and and disappointed in the part that Denzel played. And glad Denzel still making movies and everything, but I was like, man, like that's whatever. So I'll leave it. That's all I have to say about it.
Go ahead, Quincy.
I saw it yesterday. I wasn't a fan really. Like I thought it was. I ain't gonna say too much, but I thought it was rushed. I thought it was like missing parts, missing pieces. The acting was not the greatest, like from some of the casts and stuff. Like I think it could have been good. It could have been better. But like I said, to be honest, I just thought it was just like it was just missing something. Like the twin scene, their acting, it felt like a lot of it was edited out. Like you should felt more for the characters. You
Hmm.
should have hit different. But I don't know if it was just a long movie and the editing got taken out of the parts where it should have been. It just felt like it was rushed to me. I think it could have been a lot better, but I just felt it was rushed.
Hmm.
But like I said, it's worth to watch. Gladiator first one was definitely epic. Like I don't even think it needed a second one to be frank. Like most movies, they don't really need a second movie. But it is what it is in this industry of like, hey, let's do the reboots. Let's do another one. They like the first one, so let's do 10 more with the freaking Fast and the Furious, and it got so far from racing cars, you don't even know what the heck the movie is anymore. But
Pretty much.
but like I said, I know what people like, so let's keep doing it. Let's not think of anything original or new.
Yeah.
I think
So
that
you
time
mentioned
period is right with content. People are looking for something, and that people love doing period pieces. So some people that's their historical fiction, but that's also how they learn about history. And I appreciate kind of they were willing to go back there, and maybe they said, well, we could go back there and tell this new story about this guy, but if we tie it to Gladiator 2, more people will actually watch it.
Yeah,
So I feel
and
like
that's
they
what they
did.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even speaking on that, like I think they still got some things wrong just in the language and the verbiage and how they talk to each other. Like that's some modern stuff. Like they would say they wouldn't call this person this bird this
Well,
that.
they're not talking in Italian, so automatically.
No, just the words like what was it like? Oh, call the doctor. Like they didn't wouldn't probably say doctor. They would have said something else. Like I'll think about Spartacus called Matiski or whatever it's called. Call something else. They probably gonna say, hey, let's go to the doctor's office real quick. Nah. It's just felt off. It felt
well,
like they wanted to say, my man, my man. in some of the scene.
well, and see,
He's like,
that's
my
where it
N
goes back.
word.
That's where that goes back to, like you said, it being rushed in the sense of like, all right, well, rather than taking your time to come up with the appropriate dialogue or the appropriate protocol, or oh, in those days this would have occurred or that would have occurred, and so on and so forth. They're like, no, like let's just go ahead and do this. People aren't going to think too much of it or whatever. Which also goes back to my statement of it being a cash grab. It's like, all right, well, we know people love this movie. Let's go ahead and like come up with we'll wrap up some quick, simple story that we'll have and like throw Gladiator 2 on the title, and people will be like down to watch it because of Gladiator 2, you know. Whereas, and that I feel like is the majority of these like like decade, 2 decade long, 3 decade long sequels, where it's like, all right, yeah, let's rehash this just to bring on a new generation of fans and so forth. And so a lot of them are usually trash. There are quality ones, I will say that. And probably one of the ones that I think main quality was uh Maverick, the Top Gun 2 movie. Like that was really dope. It's probably it took a long time for them to like get to it, and I think that's because they wanted to actually have it be quality. In comparison to the first movie, it wasn't the exact same. There were a lot of, rehashed areas or whatever, but it was like, the way I look at it is like, is it a good movie on its own where you don't, if you didn't like take into account one of the older movies or whatever, right? And looking at that movie, if you called it something else, anything else besides Maverick or Top Gun, like it still would be a cool movie because the story was good, the action was good, the acting was good, like so that was positive. But some of these other ones, it's just like, hey, like let's just throw this story on. Let's have some kind of like, a couple of scenes that like remind you of the old scene or whatever, and a story that doesn't make sense or match up or whatever. Like they did. I was gonna say the Clerks movie. It wasn't Clerks, but it was something like that where it was just like, all right, yeah, let's just rehash this and people are gonna get into it. Bill and Ted, they did that one, like not the sequel, but obviously like the trilogy one or the final one or whatever. Like that was disappointing. I could probably go on, but like there's just a lot of those rehashed movies. And my personal opinion, Gladiator was one of those.
So I obviously disagree. Um, and I think there's a different couple ways you can go with this, but I think I disagree. I think that overall the story was good. I think it stands on its own. I think that telling a story about someone that loses, like basically there's a town being invaded, people get captured and sold into slavery. You lose someone in the process. There's death. The ship battle was epic. The way they transform you to being inside the ship, seeing cannon fodder, all that was done in a way we really haven't seen before. That was the stuff of Ridley Scott, which was really well done. I feel like the arenas, being in the arena, feeling the stakes, feeling like how they transformed it to having different animals, water, all sorts of stuff. It was like it felt like really epic to see. I feel like Denzel stood out, and probably because some of the other acting was kind of okay, passable. But I think he stood out. He commanded the stage. Everything you were watching was to see how he was going to react, how he was going to play his position, but still he stole the show.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
agree.
just in general, I appreciate stories that are able to complete themselves in 2 hours. Like nowadays, it seems like every story has to be added with filler and relationship building and having a sex scene and all this like complicated this and that, and it makes it to a 7 episode, 8 episode TV series, Paramount Plus series. And it's like I appreciate something that's able to tell its complete thing, the narrative in 2 hours, get it over and done with, have some laughs, have some action. I thought it was well done. So
Contrary
So
to that, though, like Quincy said, it was more so incomplete. There's a lot of questions that were unanswered. The main one that comes to me is like, all right, and a little bit of a spoiler, but the parties that were in charge at the time,
yeah, the
since there were
brothers.
two of them, the brothers, like, where did they come from? Why are they the weird as they are? Like, like that didn't make too much sense to me, and then it's just a lot of background where it's like you could have filled in something there. So yes, when you're talking about like, oh, like I like something that's real quick and condensed and just 2 hours, great. This movie I don't think should have been condensed, and Quincy was saying, probably there's like some things that got edited out. If you saw the full like uncut movie, it probably would be quality, but they cut out a lot of parts where I think it would have helped explain this and this and why this occurred, why that occurred. And when you talk about the Ridley Scott, like the battle scenes and stuff like that, or the water, that's great. But I'm just trying to think like, how did you get water in the Coliseum, for example? Like, and they or like why at least in the old Gladiator, the original one, like there's setup leading up to the battles or
Yeah,
whatever. It
but
was, oh
exactly. And
dang,
some
like
of there's some slow parts in Gladiator 1 if you watch it again. There's a lot of slow parts. And
which
so
is
so part.
obviously in modern day shooting, you kind of got to accelerate, yada yada. Yeah, there's water this time, yada yada. Okay, there's a different animal. You don't need to see all the backstory of that.
you need some explaining though, because it's like, all right, well, so we just threw water in here somehow, and especially it's like, I don't know how accurate that is. Did they do have water, and did they have water in the Colosseum and like big ASS ships like that? You mean, so it's like it came a little bit too unrealistic to be like, nah, this isn't a period piece. This is like like some Quentin
So
Tarantino like historic like fake bullshit. Like I don't know, just
so
yeah.
on both sides of that, like what Harold said, I agree on certain things what Harold said, like as far as Denzel, great scenes. He stole the show. I think he did do a great job. So I like that aspect. It was a beautiful shot movie for sure. The scenes, the look, the feel of the movie. Like you said, the ship scene, even the water scene, I didn't like I said with what Brian was saying, like I don't that's not really believable to me, but it was beautifully shot. Like the aspect of it, how it was done, it was great. I liked it. But like I said, do I buy that part? Not really. Do I like
Also,
the other acting besides Denzel? It's like without Denzel, put it this way, without Denzel, would you like that movie?
additionally, like
That's an unfair question.
I do want to ask you guys this, like, what did you guys think of the ending? I felt the ending was kind of rushed, but what were your thoughts on that?
A little bit, yeah. And just the whole Braveheart moment at the end, talking to both sides, like, and how did he even get to that part? Like, how did he get through 10,000 people to even get to the middle of every, or 5,000 people or whatever? Like, people that were trying to kill him 5 seconds ago, you're going to get through all of them without a scratch on you and just riding your horse to get to the middle. Like, okay. But like
So
I said, hey,
basically, at the end, they have two factions, I guess you could say, and one faction is from Rome, and the other one's from the outsiders. They both come in to meet in the middle, and you have basically the son of Maximus that's leading one group, and then you have
Hey guys, that was the whole thing. Damn, like just did you
Hans
like
say
the
you don't
ending or
care, so
not? Like,
and you got Denzel representing the other group who just kind of connived his way up there. So it's kind of like, all right, well, you're expecting this big epic battle and swords and a whole bunch of bloodshed and all that stuff, and they just basically settled in the middle one on one and call it good. And so if you were expecting catapults and a crazy like, I don't know, Saving Private Ryan scene, it didn't happen. If you're expecting Troy or something like it didn't happen. That happened earlier in the movie. So I don't know if you're saying that made it wrap up quickly, but I think
it was
it made sense for the movie. Like there's some restraint. Everything didn't end in 5,000 people dying.
No, I
So
didn't
so
say
so
that part.
so
Like, I don't think that should have happened. It was in it, and it's funny because that you said Troy because it was kind of like that at the beginning scene where it's like, hey, 1-on-1, and whoever wins, that the side wins. So it's kind of like that aspect where I didn't need the bloodshed, I didn't need the big fight scene. It just felt like maybe it should have that scene should have happened in the Coliseum compared to like, hey, let's ride a horse, 2 miles in the middle to do that. Maybe he should have just went to the hey, I don't know. But like I said, it's worth the watch. Peep it out. Get your
I
own
mean,
opinion of it. Obviously, everybody got their own thoughts on it, but it's worth a
so
peep out.
outside of my question about the two emperor dudes or whatever, like, all right, the additional question, like, talk about, okay, you have this side versus that side, thousands versus thousands. Okay, so you got thousands of people that are going to follow Denzel, which is like, I don't know how that came about, like how he rose to power that quick. And then same thing, thousands of people are they're going to follow this slave dude that's Gladiator. I don't know how he rose to that quick. Think about the old Gladiator, right? Yeah, he had his people backing him, but that's because he previously was the leader of an army, and he still didn't even have a whole grip of like he didn't have a whole army behind him. He had like a grip of people like that got ratted out, and then
But that's an easy
so
answer. It's because of loyalty. Some have loyalty to
they had loyalty to a slave dude that nobody knew. Nobody knew this dude in this one.
he's a champion in the arena. That gave him street cred. The other guy is the king,
Hey,
and they will
hey,
do
hey,
whatever the
hey,
king says. That's loyalty.
hey. LeBron. So you got like all these LeBron dudes going against all these Jordan dudes, right? And like, and they've been with LeBron since he won that first championship, right? 'Cause, I mean, that's like just because he's a champion, don't mean like all those people are like all Rome is gonna back this dude. But neither here nor there. Like again, that's something you could debate and go against like one way versus another. Outside with Quincy and acknowledging that yes, like it's worth the watch, especially if you're gonna be able to get it for free. Don't pay like full blown IMAX like Dolby Digital blah 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 like money that I paid. I think it was like damn near like $25 a ticket, and I had to get
That's
my
why
ticket,
he's
get my
mad.
wife's ticket. Like it's ridiculous, but yeah, like don't yeah, you can get it on DVD or rental or whatever, or if you can get it free, like on one of the streaming services, check it out there. Try to go into it knowing that like, yeah, maybe not might not be great, but it could also turn out to be maybe better than I expected. Just don't be hyped behind it, so that you don't get like let down. That's my thought or my opinion.
He's just mad. He spent $100 at the movie theater. That's why he's mad.
Not
So then,
yeah, too.
Don, I know you didn't see the movie, but do you agree with the premise of there should be more movies and less TV shows, or are you all for uh, taking a long time to tell a story if necessary?
No, man, but I'm cool with the TV shows because that way you can watch at your own leisure. You know what I'm saying? With
Get a
movies,
break.
you have to be able to sit down. You have to set a specific day and time and place that you guys can do that. With TV and streaming, I feel like, hey, look, the 9 episodes are here. Get to it when you can get to it. You know what I'm saying? So some people have a whole entire Sunday where they can binge it. Some people are like, well, I like to episodically watch stuff. Some people like I can get 10 minutes in, gotta pause it because I gotta go cook or do this or that. I'm down for the TV shows.
I think there is some merit to that. I think like Lioness has been great every single episode, but I think if you were to say, okay, I'm gonna go start watching The Bear, you're like, damn, I'm 3 seasons behind already. I gotta watch, and you're like 30 hours of TV. Like people automatically check out and say, no, I'm good. And so if you were to say, oh, Power is good, you should really watch it. Insecure is good, you should really watch it. It's one thing to be like, oh, these are quick 30-minute, 40-minute episodes. It's another thing to say, I got to watch 7 seasons of something to catch up to the cultural relevance of like that just
If you
it's
want to catch
daunting.
up, like but
Three Friday movies is a lot easier than watching 5 seasons of Insecure.
Well, what if we've never seen Friday and then they put 3 Friday movies for you to stream? That's like season one, two, and three. Same thing. Similar.
yeah.
Like, for Friday one is season one, and next Friday, season two, Friday after next is season three. Or to, Quincy's earlier thing about Fast and Furious, we don't like it after a certain one, but for the Fast and Furious people out there, there's 10. What if they dropped all 10 and you had to like stream that as seasons 1 through 10? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm here for it. Again, it's based on your leisure, based on your time that you can set up, and I'm down for the movies. Or I'm down for the TV shows.
I
That
feel
works.
you.
Yeah.
I like the
Like,
balance.
yeah, and it's like I'm in the middle too because like like how Harold was saying, like, dang, you're like 3 seasons behind. It was different because like back in the day, to a certain extent, like when Power was on, I was watching that from on, Stars, from episode one. So every week I was watching it and stuff. So it was a little different than, and same with like one of my other favorites, like The Wire or what is it? Sons of Anarchy. Those shows, like back in the day, I was watching every Friday or every Sunday or whatever day it came on once a week. So it felt a little different compared to like, dang, do I really want to watch 8 seasons of this show right now or something new? Like, maybe not. Like, and it's funny because like I would sit there and watch, especially when I was working from home. I watched freaking The Wire over again. I watched Sons of Anarchy over again. I watched Dexter over again. But it's because I knew I liked it and I knew it was good and I knew I would appreciate it. But a new show, I'm like, I probably won't start getting into a new show unless it's only 1 or 2 seasons in.
Yeah.
But anything else, like, I'm kind of
There's a lot
velvet.
of You Had to Be There shows. If you watch, Orange is the New Black, and you're like, oh, this is the dawn of Netflix and streaming, and this is one of the greatest shows. It's like, and then it gets bad around season 3, 4, 5, as almost all of them do. But if you're invested, you're invested. If you come of it 5 years, 10 years later, you're not going to be as invested. So once it starts getting trashed, you're out. Like,
Exactly.
and there's a lot of seasons like
Exactly.
that. A lot of people said Power fell off after like season 3. So when you're at season 4 and 5, 10 years later, you're going to be like, this is the thing they said was epic. I don't know. I don't see it. And it's going to be easily
Yeah.
dismissed. And I think there's a lot of shows like that. Mostly, the first one was probably Lost, because Lost was like this epic thing that people actually saw on network television, ABC back in the day,
Exactly.
back in the TiVo days. And people would watch it week to week, week to week. And then when it came out on streaming or as like a box set, people were like, it's good. But after season 1 or 2, just, I don't know. Are you serious? It got all
Yeah.
supernatural. That doesn't make sense. And so, yeah, it's easy to just nope out of something real quick once it starts to go astray.
Exactly, and that's the difference. That's what you're saying. What I was saying, like with watching Power, watching Sons, or and stuff like. I was watching every week, so you actually invested your time and your, like you said, invested into it. So you build into it. You're like, oh, this is good. Compared to like now, where it doesn't feel like you're investing anything, when it's all on Netflix or all on Hulu or whatever, where I can turn it on and off at any point. Like compared to like, oh shoot, I was watching Martin every day or every week and stuff. I was waiting for every Sunday to watch an episode of The Simpsons. Like you actually cared more. And that's one thing about technology and the streaming that kind of is hurting the industry to a certain extent, because it just doesn't feel the same as, and these kids will never know. Shoot, even
These
freaking commercials and stuff, like, hey, I gotta watch 3 minutes of commercials just to watch this. Now I can pay for no ads, or I can just skip this and like this and that. Like I said, it has its good things and it has its bad things, but it doesn't give you the same appreciation.
Different times.
All
Exactly.
right, let's
And it
jump
is
to
what
the
it
albums
is.
of the year before we close.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What y'all got?
Kick it off, Brian.
All right,
Oh,
so
Don looked like you about to jump in. What were you about to say, Don?
Oh, no, we're starting with that. So go ahead. He's got it.
yeah, so like I didn't like the list of different music that came out this year. Similar to what Harold said, where it's like, dang, you had a lot of artists that were good that you'd like look forward to, but and maybe it's just like how too much of a good thing. Maybe one of those scenarios where it's like, oh, we got all these good people to choose from, all these good albums. So it's kind of hard to figure out or choose one. So I don't think this album is great, but for some reason, this was probably like the one that I enjoyed the most throughout this year and consistently was going back to. And that is another person where like the voice, like I hear them on a song, like it's hard for me not to like the song. That'd be Juicy J of 3 6 Mafia, Memphis Zoo. He had two
Really?
albums to drop, but Memphis Zoo, that was like one of the first ones, and that one was dope. Like I still think like it's just dope. Like each one of the tracks, that's one that few albums that I can listen to like from beginning to finish and not be like, oh man, I really want to skip this track or whatever. Because there are like of all these artists that came out with stuff, there's at least like 1 or 2 tracks each where I'm like, yeah, let me skip this, let me skip this, let me skip this. Memphis Zoo, I can just listen to that from beginning to end and enjoy myself throughout.
Hmm.
What about you, Don?
While I think it wasn't like the strongest year, I have a good amount of like projects that came out that I'm like thoroughly pleased and happy about. I mean, I've been writing a list and I had wrote a list and like I between rap and R&B collectively, to me, I think this was a solid year. I really do. If you're talking about like the top artists, not dropping, cool, but in terms of like the lower end up and comings, and I don't know, I thought it was fire. I'm very filled music wise. If I have to go for my overall album of the year, it's kind of tough, but I was leaning towards You Only Die Once, Freddie. I think that one I probably played the most out of everything. I think out of all the albums from start to finish, I can play that one consistently and not touch skip once. It's very cohesive, it's very solid, it's quick, and I mean, he's getting to it. You know what I'm saying? He gets to it. Since it came out, no joke, I'm not exaggerating. I probably listened to it at least in its entirety twice a week since it came out. So for me, it's got to be that. I've got honorable mentions, but I
One
think
second on the it's pretty amazing. What do you think of him having skits? He did that on So separately as well. What do you think of his little like
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that, only because if I compare it to Alfredo, which to me is like a classic masterpiece, and that really didn't have any skits on there like that. I'm kind of against it, but because it was so short, whatever, I let it rock. The other cuts on there are like so fire that it kind of ties into it, so I'm here for it. But yeah, man, like I said, I had a couple of quick honor mentions. Doshi's Alligators Bites Never Heal. I still bump that one a
Her
lot.
Tiny Desk? Have you seen it yet?
Yes, I have twice. So Doshi to me couldn't do no wrong. I know you guys aren't a Don Tolliver fan, but that stays in rotation for me. I love the Hearthstone Psycho album. Went to see him a couple months ago when he was out here, and that was a phenomenal show. Lucky Day, me being a R&B head, Algorithm still gets played for me, but it's Freddie. It to me is Freddie. Freddie gets album of the year for me.
Nice.
Right.
That was out of nowhere too.
Exactly. And for him to drop like that, it's like, and that's going against again, like Chromacopia to me, love it. Uh, guys, I'm a K-Tronada guy, timeless, listen to that throughout the year, great. So for him to drop this random tape, it'd be a quick little 30, 40 minutes and be that polished, fire.
Now, does this speak to what you were saying a while ago that you just want him to shut up and put out music, or is he still annoying to you because of his social media antics?
This is what I'm talking about, bro. Like throughout the year, all that Twitter beef and Instagram beef and the stuff he was doing and the pictures he was posting, bro, we know what you can do. Shut up and put it out. I don't want to be the shut up and dribble. That's not me. I don't like to do that. But
I'm just wondering.
if you want to be on your IG and living your life, that's cool. But the stuff he was doing was stupid. That's the point I'm talking about. If you want to be like a Rihanna and not put music out, but just live your life, cool, do that. I'm here for it. But when I am a fan of you and the only thing I'm getting from you is whack content, oh, look at my girl, or I'm getting in fights at a barbecue spot, like, bro, what are you doing? Get in the booth. And when you get in the booth, you do this. So there it is.
Nice.
What about you, Quincy?
Shoot, I need to start listening to more because, like I said, I've been listening to old school stuff mostly. So I need to start peeping out what you guys peeping out, and start hitting up here like, hey, what's new, and give me a link or whatever, so I can start listening to more. But I would have to say, Samurai is what I've been playing the most of. Lupe, that's what I've been playing most of this year. That and that Ambrose album. But Lupe is probably has to steal it just because he's Lupe. But that's the one I had probably on rotation the most. And
What's your
second,
favorite tracks off of Marsha and Lupe?
shoot, I don't. I gotta
Do you
look
know
at
the
the
titles
lyrics.
or
Dude, I don't remember names for nothing, dude. I barely remember the name of Samurai. Shoot. Yeah. And the M. I like the M album. The M album was dope to me. So those are probably the top three.
One of those, okay.
Nice.
And Harold.
Yeah, I gotta honestly do I'm so bad with names and stuff. Like back in the day, I used to pay attention and care, and no track 7 was this and that, this, that. I still know on Leashes, oh, track 7 is this, track 4 is falling, track 12 is I feel feeling this way. Like I still know an old school artist like that when I
In
had the
old school
CD.
though, like you didn't have as much music to sift through, so that's probably why. Because I'm the same way. It's like that song transitions to that song. I can remember how the song goes, but the actual title or what album it was on or what track number it is, like I can't remember all those things because there's so much music you have to sift through.
Exactly.
But if you ask me, like, all right, what track was like, DMX, like, what these bitches want or whatever, like, oh yeah, like I know what that, like I know that's off of that
Exactly.
album, so and so. Because back then you only had, 2, 3 albums to choose from or in rotation, like, for 3 months or whatever, like an album a month or something like that. Now it's like you got 3 different albums in one week that drop, so it's kind of hard to, recall
Exactly.
everything.
And that's
I'm with you
probably
there.
what it is too. It's like, yeah, it's just a cesspool and just like, hey, I only got so much memory bank. It's like back in the day, like, hey, before caller ID and all that stuff, I knew everybody's number and everybody's birthday, my aunts, uncles, everybody. Like, my mom was like, hey, what's auntie's number? Like, da 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 da. Like, I know
Yeah.
everybody's freaking now. Shoot, I barely know mine, dude. If I get in trouble, if I don't have my phone, I can't call anybody.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
What you got, Harold? What's your
I mean, like I said, like this
TY?
this should be the greatest year of all time for me because I love Rhapsody's project, Larry June's project, Freddie Gibbs' project, Tyler the Creator, Lupe put out a dope project, M put out a project, Dom Kennedy, Killer Mike, Lloyd Banks. Like it's like down the
Yeah.
line. Currency had a couple, but Rock Marciano put out 2 projects this year, and it just made me a super fan of his. So I tried to put his up there just because I think I'm fans of the other people already. I've been following them for years. I just started following him, and he just became, I just became an avid listener, a big fan of his. He has kind of like the hardcore. A lot of times he likes to drop the bass line out and just rap over a smooth sample. But
Okay.
there's something about the stuff that he put out. He put out an album with Alchemist, and then he put out an album where he produces a lot of his own material. So he does the production and the lyrics. And I just, for some reason, have been attached to that Marciology project the most. So I have to say Rock Marciano. I'd be lying to myself
Okay.
if I didn't say I listened to that the most, even though I want to put Lupe up there. I want to put Killer Mike up there. Freddie Gibbs definitely has no skips. But man,
Yeah,
I'm
I respect that because that's how I was last year with IDK being my album of the year. And like this year he put out Bravado and it was cool, but I'm the same way. Like I didn't know much about IDK. I heard like at Freestyle or two back in the day. And then when I was like scrolling through, because I like to listen to new music. So I will go search for it sometimes. And then
yeah.
when I see on a playlist this song by IDK and I'm like, oh, I like this song, then I go to the album. And then like I didn't stop listening to the album for like 6 months, that which is why I had to put it for album of the year last year. So I feel you on like, oh, this is a new artist, and I just started following them, and so I respect that, and I want to keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I looked for that this year, and I didn't find anyone new that I gravitated to as much, which is why that Freddie album stuck with me. Now on the rap side, on the R&B side, there was a lot new. The ones that I sent to Quincy, told you guys to listen to, the Leon Thomas Mutt album, like that has stayed consistently playing. So like on the R&B side, fam, there's a lot of new artists. Kenyon Dixon put out an album called The R&B You Love, which is a quick, and Quincy, you might like this because he stays in the 2000 R&B pocket. He's literally got a song called like
Mm.
R&B from 2000, and it's like a quick little EP, maybe 20, 25 minutes, but it's a banger. So I
Wow.
do, for 2025, I probably like encourage and recommend that. Like go out there and look. Like so you're not in your Alicia bag, in your, Lupe bag or whatever. Like there's so much actual fire that's out there that you just got to go look for it. And it is there. You know what I'm saying? So
On the
I
contrary, the downside though is that if you have to look for it, you have to sit. It's like going through like going to like a TJ Maxx or something, like where you have to sift through a lot of garbage to see some treasures. You know what I mean? And it's just the luck of the draw or whatever. But I think like you have the right idea in regards to like, yeah, still go out and seek stuff. I think we talked about one time like the way in which like we jump onto new music is like we hear like somebody featured in on someone else's song, or if you're listening to like Spotify and that's where like it has recommendations for people that have similar sounds and stuff. So yeah, I definitely like agree with you. Yeah, go out and learn or look for new music, but I'm very fearful or hesitant myself because it's like, dang, like I'm gonna, reach out or seek out this person, listen to their stuff, and it is garbage and trash, and I just feel like, man, I just wasted like 45 minutes to an hour when I could have been listening to something I enjoy more. So it's
What
kind
I
of tough.
think what also helps too is so like if you listen to some of those people that do a collaboration, so like Terrace Martin, he puts out like jazz kind of ensembles, but he'll feature certain artists. Or like Robert Glasper, right? He does modern day jazz, but he'll feature, you know, hip hop artists, R&B artists. And so sometimes that will be like, oh, well, if you're cool with them, or if you've been at the Blue Note Jazz Club here, or you've been at this festival with such and such, that almost opens the door to hear like what sounds good on what production. So I think that also helps too. I mean, that's how kind of heard of October London. Originally, who's the one that's on Dreamville? That put out a project, female artist.
Oh, damn, not
You know who I'm talking about? Ari Lennox.
Ari. I was gonna say it's Ari Lennox. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Like
dope.
that's
I
like
like her.
say that again.
No, I said she's dope. I like her. I've been liking her for years, though. I've been
Yeah,
listening
yeah.
to her for a minute.
See, I feel what Brian was saying, and we don't have to drag it on, but I don't consider it like sifting through music a bad thing because number one, music's a passion to me. So like I almost get excited going through and if I'm being completely honest, it's tough to say like most music today is like trash. I just one thing about me for next year, I'm gonna stop saying everything's trash or whack. You know what I mean? Like just because we don't know it, a lot of times we tend to think it's trash. Like when I'm sifting through music, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. I might find something I don't gravitate towards, but it's not trash. You know what I mean? Like I think artists today aren't necessarily putting out whack music. It might be music like, I don't really rock with that. Let me skip. But I don't think that as like a I don't look at it as like I just wasted my time. Yeah, like if you want to use what's it called, shopping for example, like if you go thrifting, right, you're searching through for that piece that is gonna like sit with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not thrifting through the stuff going, oh, this is whack, this is whack, this is whack. It's just not for me. I'm the same way with music, and I enjoy that. And I think I've been more successful than not by finding something I really like. You know what I'm saying? So now like I'm so fulfilled because I did spend that 45 minutes going to look for a new artist. And within that 45 minutes, I found a Kenyon Dixon. I found a Kiana Lede. I found a Lucky Day. I found a Leon Thompson. I found an October London. I found an Amber Mark. These are all R&B artists that I didn't listen to last year that now I'm like, I love it because of that. You know what I'm saying? So
I got you. Yeah.
I think the temptation to do that is because Tommy Richmond comes out, whatever, right? And the $1 Million Baby track that we've heard a million times, you're like, they're forcing it down your throat. So you're like, no, get that out of here. It's garbage. You want to have that reaction of like, it can't be that, and they did the same thing with Doja Cat, right? Doja Cat, the last year, it's been all of her tracks. And it's like, I don't need to hear her about being a devil. I'm a, like, put that, like, it's garbage. Get out of my face. Like, so that's that when they want to make something and it comes off industry planish, where they want to make something a hit and shove it down your throat, that's where people like have that reaction. So I do feel it's an unfair label, but it's because we're being bombarded with the pop thing that's supposed to be the thing.
So there's a lot that's just discussed there and whatnot. And one, my battery's dying, like, so I need to get it back charged real quick. But also, I gotta enjoy this last little bit of time I have in Cali. So we can talk about this further. I'm sure we'll have discussions further and everything. But I'm gonna sum it up, at least my part, before I depart, by saying this. In response to it's positive in regards to not like wanting to, call new music trash and like the majority of new music being trash and such. But to counter that, I'm going to say, and again, we can discuss this later on and whatnot, because I'm sure you'll want to, but GNX Peekaboo. That's it. All right. GNX Peekaboo. That is that's my justification or statement in regards to whether or not things can or are trash, but that's that. Well, fellas, it's always good chatting with you and whatnot. Everybody be safe. I don't know if I'll chat with y'all before New Year's, so happy New Year's and happy holidays, all that junk.
Yes, sir.
And y'all take care.
Merry Christmas.
Be easy.
Christmas.
Take it easy.
All right.
All right, man.
Take it easy, guys.